Niall, you've just written an article on Libya. It's the title is something like "What Imperialism? How nasty imperialism is after the invasion." What was the gist of your article?
Well, I had done a little bit of research on the state of affairs in post-Gaddafi Libya, and not really. It was pretty unsurprisingly. I found that a lot of these big conglomerate corporations have been from the very countries who participated in the bombardment of Libya were basically being granted huge contracts to rebuild the infrastructure there. A lot of people don't know that Libya was had some of the most impressive infrastructure in the whole continent of Africa, and had an economy that was growing annually at a rate of 10%. So basically, what I looked at was how companies such as Shell, British Petroleum, and Total were basically profiting from this immensely unethical campaign that basically goes against any moral foundation of doing the right thing, in my opinion.
I've got a theory that the oil companies would rather have peace. I don't believe the oil companies are behind these wars. I think BP would say, leave Gaddafi in power, things are going great. I think it's other entities that are pushing these wars. Of course, they'll give the profits to the oil companies and make them scapegoats. But I don't know if you've considered that possibility. That even the bankers, I would say the same about. We're constantly being told they want these wars for profit and they're for resources. I think they're more to do with ideology, assimilation, genetic diversity, so-called women's rights in the Western sense. Issues of that order. I don't know if you've embodied those in your article at all, or if you agree with me.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Basically, I do. I think it's certainly about assimilation. It's certainly about it's a clash of the civilizations in many ways as well. I tend in my articles, at least in the ones I've worked on Libya at the moment, I just tend to look at like more economic matters, such as the fact that Gaddafi was pretty instrumental. He was a major donor to the idea of an African Union. And the creation of an African monetary fund, an African central bank, and a gold dinar currency, which would essentially allow the countries who were under this pan-Islamic gold dinar currency to basically be free to orchestrate their own economic matters, free of the imperialism of Ben Bernanke in a lot of respects. So I think there are many reasons why the Libya conflict went down as it did. In terms of economics, assimilation, you're absolutely right. And I think Gaddafi was he had a lot of inside deals that he was partaking in with the governments of European countries. So I think the fact that he was executed like an animal is no surprise to me, because I think the last thing that a lot of these European governments, which took place, which participated in this bombardment of Libya, the last thing they wanted is to see Muammar Gaddafi on the stand at the International Criminal Court.
They wouldn't have allowed it. They wouldn't have allowed
No.
it. No. It's funny because, all pretense of the West being for liberty and freedom has just vanished. It's just evaporated. I mean, I'm older than you, but at this point, it's all gone. I mean, they're just the bad devil, it seems, Satan.
It's not anything I can ever recall in my 22 years of really kind of acknowledging his existence. But I think more and more people are realizing that a lot of this talk of freedom and democracy is really rhetoric, and it's a way to condition people to accept the current state of affairs. For example, I think, like communism, I don't think we've reached democracy in any country. There's no country we can point to and say, oh, let's do it like them, that hasn't existed yet. And I think the idea of democracy is certainly It's an interesting one, but I don't think we've ever come close to getting something so genuine. And I think democracy does have a lot of problems as well. If we have 51%, supporting something, what about the other 49%?
Well, Gaddafi's Green Book said this as well.